One of the things that makes me feel really good is that we honor all paths. We honor all religious traditions, all spiritual ideas here at Unity of Tucson. And we've adopted here a ceremony called Lighting the Flames of Faith to acknowledge that very notion. Here to guide us in that ceremony today are today's Keepers of the Flames. Please welcome Diane Christie and Laura Cass.
Need a big breath. So we center ourselves. We light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of surrender to divine love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them, and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. The final candle is the healing candle. It represents the revealing of the divinity at the core of all experience. This is your candle for whatever is in your mind and heart that requires the light.
Each month, I arbitrarily come up with these themes that I apply to the month throughout the year. A couple of years ago, we did, the 12 powers, which is pretty typical in Unity communities where you do one of the 12 powers and let that be the theme for the month. And I like to mix it up, and so this year, I've chosen all of these themes, and the theme for January has been adventure, and today is the final Sunday in January, so this is it. No more adventure. Actually, this is so not it. Yes, while it's the final Sunday where the theme of our month is adventure, the adventure is a lifetime. And is purposeful. We often hear the adventure of a lifetime. No, the adventure is a lifetime. We are living the outflow of adventure at all times. It is never about a single destination. It is a continuous unfolding of divine purpose in every choice we make, and we are living it 100% all the time. Isn't that exciting? That was pretty good over here. Isn't that exciting? Yes, there we go. So this is one of those songs, I love this song. If you don't know, it's from the musical Jekyll and Hyde, which gives it a little bit of a different context. But it's a great song that it always speaks to my heart, and there's some lyrics that I wanted to highlight in particular. This is the moment when all I've done, all of the dreaming, scheming, and screaming become one. You know, each and every moment is the culmination of everything that we have ever experienced in our life. Everything that we've ever experienced in this thing called life, it is all culminated into this moment right here and right now. How do you feel about that? It's a pretty good feeling. Some people may not have such a good feeling about that. They may be looking and saying, oh, but I want it to be different. Well, here's the good news. You can make it different, because this is the moment where everything that flows forth from this moment is the opportunity for transformation, and that's the adventure. That's the adventure. You are always in a decision position about what will be. Always, no matter what, 100% of the time, you are not relegated to anything from your past. Ever. Every moment is an opportunity to fully engage, that wasn't right, to fully engage, not past tense, to fully engage in this moment, even in the midst of seeming challenge. The glasses come off. You noticed it's really dry. I want to acknowledge that I am in the midst of seeming challenge in my life right now. I feel like I am living in a completely different world than I was a short time ago. I feel like I'm living in a world where a privileged few are challenging my sacred temple. And when I talk about my sacred temple, I'm not talking about a physical place. I'm talking about my mind and my heart. That's my sacred temple. And it's feeling very challenging right now. And so what has come up for me this week in a more profound way than it ever has before is this idea. Maybe it's time to overturn a few tables. In Scripture, Matthew 21, 12 and 13, that is the scene in the Gospels in which Jesus enters the temple and he finds greed and corruption in what is meant to be a sacred space, with the money changers and the lenders and various other nefarious seeming characters. I will tell you, when I knew that this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, I actually thought about grabbing that scene from Jesus Christ Superstar and showing it to you. And I looked at the scene on video and I thought, that's the imagery of it is a bit too much for a Sunday morning. They really go for it. And what Jesus does is he overturns the tables. Now, I want to remind you of something I said last fall when I came back from the affiliated New Thought Network conference, because it was one of those things that I had heard while I was there, and it really resonated with me, because I think sometimes we get a little nervous around seeming political. And what I want to remind everyone is that Jesus was political. That was a political action. Jesus was not partisan. That's the difference. Jesus was political, but he was not partisan. And when he overturned those tables and said, "My house shall be a house of prayer, you have made it a den of thieves and robbers," he is speaking truth. Now, if we can apply that metaphysically and metaphorically in the New Thought tradition by saying the house, which is our mind and our heart, is a house of prayer. And the degree to which we let outside influences affect it, it becomes a den of thieves and robbers. Because someone is robbing our well-being, robbing our good with our consent if we are not opposed to it. The sacred temple is our mind. It is our heart. An erroneous thought and belief is us giving up power and giving it to mental thieves. And so my work is to overturn the tables in my own mind and to not allow that any longer. Divine. The adventure that we're on, the divine adventure, may look like engagement despite discomfort. And I've lived in some discomfort. I've lived in discomfort for significant portions of my life. All of it has led to this moment. All of it has led to this moment. And what I have taken to heart is that my work in spiritual practice is to not allow the lessons learned to go unapplied. Because what I have found is that if I let the lessons go unapplied, what I hate is that those lessons keep coming back. Y'all experience that? I used to be much more involved in engagement despite discomfort in my life. When I was a rebel. I know that probably shocks you. Not at all. I'm a rebel within the New Thought philosophy, frankly. But it is my desire that we engage with life despite what we may come up against, because that discomfort is simply the idea of normalcy, and there is nothing that is normal. There is nothing that is normal. There is only that which is commonly accepted. That does not make it normal. So what I'm going to encourage us all to engage in is to not turn away from the discomfort that we may feel in the outflow of the adventure of our lives. We have a word for what that is when we turn away from the discomfort. It's called spiritual bypass. I know you all know that, right? It's to say, basically, all of this is falling apart out here, but it's all good. La, 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 it's all good, it's all God. Don't turn away from the discomfort. Uphold the consciousness of truth and transformation in the face of seeming challenge. That is what we are tasked with, each and every one of us. That is what Jesus was doing. He was upholding truth and transformation by overturning those tables in the face of that seeming challenge. The corruption of the temple was not questioned until Jesus came in and questioned. What was happening in that is there was a group thought. This is okay. We can, do the money lending here in the temple. It's a good space. We can bring this into the temple, and we just need the space for a little bit. Well, we can bring this other thing into the table. We need the space for a little bit. And it developed what we call, in the jargon of New Thought, subjective consensus, which is a tacit agreement with whatever is happening below the level of awareness. Group thought. The corruption of the temple was not questioned until it was. And we are here to question the corruption of our temple. The overturning of the tables is a rejection of the passive acceptance of that corruption. The corruption was the status quo because those in power benefited. That's why it grew and thrived, because those in power, those to whom we give our power, benefited from the corruption. And the thing that I have to ask myself is, what do I gain by maintaining the ideas that are destructive and not constructive in my life? That is me giving up my power. Because I am always at choice. I always am in a place where I can make decisions that allow the constructive to be the primary outflow of my experience. That's what Jesus was teaching us. It is done unto you as you believe. Do you more firmly believe in the constructive or the destructive? And this is a life's journey to unfold. Because there have been times in my life when my mind and my heart have been weighted more on the side of the destructive rather than the constructive. And I'll tell you what happens in my life. It's not so much fun. Not so much fun. But I do the work. I do the spiritual work. I mention each week now that our purpose here is to is to explore the principles of New Thought, the New Thought spiritual philosophy, in order that we may master spiritual understanding, find personal purpose, and develop a spiritual path. And the application of those things in my life has enhanced the quality of my life, because what it does for me is it invites my mind, my heart, to be more rooted on the side of the constructive, and to know that no matter what, I am always in charge of my well-being. No one else can take that away from me without my consent. So today, the call is this, for us to reclaim the sacredness of our personal private temple, the mind and the heart, because that is what we always have, no matter what. I invite us to refuse to tolerate the systems that seek to diminish the divine truth in our lives, because the only truth that matters for me is this: irrespective of the circumstances in which I experience life, love always prevails. Many years ago, I was still living in Toronto, and a friend of mine who was tacitly associated with the Center for Spiritual Living, where I was a senior minister. The funny thing is, his mother is a religious science minister, and he would seek out my comfort, because you don't want to go to your mom for the spiritual truth, right? So he would seek me out for counseling, spiritual counseling, and he was having a really rough time. Some things were falling apart in his life, and he said, can you just meet me? It was so funny. It's like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. He's like, can you just meet me out at the base of the CN Tower? Okay. I'll just get up and go and meet you. But it was important that we meet in person. He spoke to me about what was happening in his life. And it literally felt like for him, everything was falling apart. And I offered these words to him. I said, when everything seems to be falling apart, it is because the divine essence has exceeded the limitations of the form, and something new must be born. I believe that is what we are collectively experiencing. You feel like things are falling apart? It is because the God essence at the core can no longer be upheld by the form that we have put into place. So the form must dismantle in order for something new to be expressed. That's what we are collectively experiencing. Now, this call, the experience of it, it can be quiet. It can be gentle. There's a song that I thought of that I sang here once, and I would love for you to sing this song. Yeah, she knows this song. Perfect. Bring it. It's a song from a show called Flora the Red Menace. It was premiered by Liza Minnelli. This song is called It's a Quiet Thing. And basically the idea of the song is, when everything may be falling apart, sometimes the experience of it is in the quiet. When something new is unfolding in your life, it can be a quiet thing. It doesn't all have to be, I know that I can be a lot of, right? But not all of it is like that. It doesn't have to be like that. That was demonstrated this week. Gentleness in opposition was demonstrated this week in a magnificently beautiful way by the Right Reverend Marion Buddy. She decided to speak truth to power even though her voice shakes. Bishop Buddy advocated for the marginalized and the oppressed, just as Jesus did in his ministry. And I'm not going to get into the rhetoric or the backlash that is unfolded. That doesn't matter. We should all be willing to step forth to gently allow ourselves to speak truth to power. Truth that upholds love only, forgive everything, remember who you are, and to allow that idea to be awash over everyone whom we encounter, even the marginalized and the oppressed. The divine adventure that we are on involves promoting truth and justice as we understand it. What I heard in that sermon that she offered was a call to look within. That's what I heard. A call for me to look within, to say, where am I still upholding systems of oppression and judgment? Where is it within me that is doing that? Where do I allow the persistence of those harmful systems in my own life? And in the awareness, as it comes to awareness, that which I seek, as that comes to awareness, I am invited then to do something about it because I am not living a tacit life. I am living an active life of spiritual adventure. If I am not actively addressing the system, I may be passively supporting it. And I choose not to support systems of oppression any longer. And so I choose to activate myself, no matter how tempting it is to retreat from the negativity. And it's tempting. Disengagement, however, allows fear to thrive and grow. I wrote a social media post. It's one of those posts that kind of just took off. I wrote a social media post this week about how my initial impulse was, I'm going to leave all of this, these social media sites, and I can't involve myself with it anymore. No. And the subsequent post was, reflecting on the idea that I wanted to retreat from the negativity and chaos and degradation that I see beginning to unfold in social media, but recognizing that retreat is never the answer. And it may seem like a means to protect, but I would be withholding the very thing that the world needs, which is my love, my heart, my voice. A flood of compassion and kindness and love is what I seek to offer throughout the entire world and to everyone in my sphere. I am seeking no longer to escape, but rather to engage. And I'm not talking about just on social media. I am talking about allowing myself to do that in every area of my life, no matter what. Every opportunity where I engage with someone is an opportunity to engage from love, compassion, and kindness. The time has come for us, I believe, to collectively stand up with this in mind. We are living in a state right now where compassion is resistance, love is rebellion, and kindness is revolution. I think that I want to be part of the leadership in the resistance, the rebellion, the revolution. Our work becomes flooding the space to drive out the opposite. That's what we are called to do. I also made a particular point to, because this is my generation, I don't know if you know, I am a Gen Xer. Gen X has a reputation. And it is not uncommon for, this has happened in the news where they'll be doing some news report on the generations, and they will list the generations, and it'll go from, they will list the silent generation, and the boomers, and the millennials, and the Gen Y, they always skip Gen X. Because we are a quiet, hibernating group. We are a group of power. And I think it is time for Gen X to wake up and stop hibernating. I do. I think it is time for all of us, including Gen X, to take an active role and overturn the tables of oppression that we are experiencing and seeing in our world right now. Seeming challenges are not barriers. They are seeming challenges. They can be opportunities to create a more just and compassionate world if we are willing to allow ourselves to take them on. Fear, I just want to acknowledge, fear may be an associated feeling, but passivity allows that group thought, the subjective consensus, to take hold. And so the call really is this, for us to be engaged in the spiritual practice. And the primary spiritual practice, of course, that we teach here at Unity of Tucson is this: prayer. Prayer is not about changing or manipulating the world. It is about changing our own minds and our own hearts so that we can be impelled into action. Prayer is about finding within ourselves the impulse into action that guides us to drive out injustice. Life's adventure is a continuous invitation to engage fully with our divine purpose. That's the true adventure, a continuous invitation to engage fully with divine purpose, to reject passivity and participate in the transforming of the world. This is the moment. I know you changed this lyric, and it's okay, because I'm going to say the original lyric. This is the moment, damn all the odds, this day or never, I'll sit forever with the gods. How about you? What is it that is in your heart to do today? How will you be today? Challenge what is being presented as normal when it doesn't align with the values of compassion, love, justice, and infinite divine transformation. As we flood those spaces, virtual and physical, with compassion, mercy, and kindness, we activate our divine superpower. The divine superpower is love. That is our divine superpower. So my call today is for each and every one of us to proceed with courage, because the adventure is a lifetime. Peace and blessings. You are magnificent. If you are new to our community, I give out a home practice every week. This is the call. This week, I would like us all to reflect on an area of our life, an area of our community where fear and negativity seem to dominate, and identify one small but meaningful action we can take to welcome compassion, mercy, or kindness into that space. If you would like to take a picture of that, you may do so. This also does get posted on our website on the video archive page. Each day, I invite us all to consciously affirm, I choose to flood this space with love, courage, and divine truth. I choose to flood this space with love, courage, and divine truth. That is the home practice this week.